First of all, it was this weekend. No matter where you are, it's just to be able to cheer on the Badger family. It was really fun for us to see Coach Sheffield's team win the highs and lows. Our team's following them on Friday night, and in the 5-set match at Penn State, and then for them to win against Rutgers and then win the Big Ten title outright. Just congratulations to them. It was really fun to be able to cheer. A lot of people watching their phones, seeing how that went, and obviously Coach Chris' team winning the Big Ten West title in a big rivalry game at Minnesota, and be able to represent the Big Ten West in the Big Ten championship game this weekend. So, Coach Johnson's team, we knew from being in Nashville last year, would have a great time, and great to see them get 2 great wins. As far as our group, it was an unbelievable experience for our team. We're so lucky, and it's fitting that on the Thanksgiving holiday, so thankful to have an opportunity to take a team out of the country and enjoy the warm weather, but watch our team grow over 2 games on Friday and Saturday, and beat a Ball State team that I think is much improved, has really, really good talent level. Had just beaten a good Xavier team by 20 at home. Won on a buzzer beater on Thursday, and then we were able to, put the pieces together on Friday and played a great second half. And then the game that I knew I wouldn't have to talk to our team much about motivation on Saturday. A team that we had been ahead for a majority of the game the year before and lost by 1 in a tournament in Nashville. Arkansas comes in as the 25th ranked team. They've added 3 more parts that are really high-end scoring. SEC team that made the SEC championship game last year. Adds a transfer, a top 15 player in the country, in Amber Ramirez. And for about 38 minutes, there was no question who was the aggressor. And we did a lot of really good things in the Arkansas game. We competed at a high level. We out-rebounded them 50-33. We controlled the tempo. A team that was averaging 89 points a game, we held to 68. And you just look at it, and when you play a really good team like that I think is going to have a really good season, you've got to be able to make certain plays down the stretch. And I thought, we put ourselves in a position to not only tie it once but twice in the last 30 seconds, and had 2 good looks at it, but hats off to Arkansas. I think the tournament made our team better. And I'm excited. We had 3 players named to the all-tournament team. Abby Leshevsky was a force on both ends. Made a block to give us a chance to tie the game at the end of the Arkansas game. Monty Lewis averaged a double-double over the weekend. And we got great, guard play from Sydney Hilliard. So we had the whole group together. Having Sid back on the floor is huge, obviously. It gives us a great spark with her and Naya coming in and giving us, great intensity. And I'm excited to move forward with our group. And I got to do have some fun in the Bahamas as well. I did not work on my tan, Dennis. Thank you. But we have a huge challenge on Thursday. Georgia Tech is maybe the most unrecognized, really good team in the country. People are averaging 40 points a game against them. They lead Division I in that category, and obviously Nell Fortner's back in the game after being a commentator for several years. She's one of the great coaches we've had in our sport, and it's a huge challenge, and we're excited to have the opportunity in the Big Ten ACC Challenge.
John?
You talked about how your team was able to grow this last couple of games in the Bahamas. In what ways have they grown, and how have they grown since even the start of the season 7 games ago?
Yeah, I mean, we looked at it, when we went early on in the issues, we felt like we weren't as good a rebounding team as we were capable of being. And, even looking back at last year's game against Arkansas when we gave up 18 offensive rebounds. And, we've had a goal the last, 3 games of people can't get into double-figure offensive rebounds, and nobody has. And that's been across the board. That can't just be something that's contributed to the post rebounding the ball better. The guards have done a better job. And I think that started, with the Milwaukee game when we came back off the road in Colorado. And, I thought really were, just beat up physically. I thought that they were the aggressor for 40 minutes. I think our team has done a better job, in those last 4 games with that. I think our team has understood how to adjust when certain people, whether they're not able to play or they're in foul trouble, the maturation of when your name's going to be called and what can you bring to us. You hope that becomes contagious. I think you saw it. We got in a little bit of foul trouble on Saturday night, and Sarah Stapleton came in and made a huge block and was active in our zone. And when we got in a little more foul trouble in the second half, she came in and scored and had another block. And so different people stepping up, I think, John, overall throughout the season. It's great to have Sydney Hilliard back. The reality of it is when she was out, other people needed to step up and do things. So we're not going to be a team that's going to have a 20, 25 point, scoring outburst most nights. And so we've got to do it collectively, and we've got to have balance with the perimeter players and the posts. And we still have a lot of room to grow with that, to get that balance. I don't think we're shooting it as well as we're capable of, especially from the 3-point line. And that's what we've got to make sure. And I think we do have some kids that can really shoot it. To me, that's a matter of making sure we put them in the right spots and them having confidence in knocking it down.
You also mentioned Sydney Hilliard there, and she missed a couple of games, and she's, like you said, she's back. In what ways does she help your team on the court? What does she provide?
Well, I think she's somebody that can score the basketball without having set action run for her. She made a couple great plays late in shot clocks this weekend. She's crafty with the ball. I think she was second in offensive rebounds over the weekend, and she scored, I think, on 4 of those. So I just think we changed the dynamic a little bit. When Suzanne starts, obviously people are occupied. I'm trying to take her away and playing a little bit more 4-on-4 and not leaving her. Which then when you bring somebody in that can put the ball on the ground and get into the gaps and not only score for yourself but also find teammates, I think that's where, being able to have both those options are huge. And a lot of times when you have different offensive players like that, the player that plays the best defense is going to remain on the floor. And I was really proud, I think, of Suzanne on Friday night. Was not her best offensive game. And she led our team on the bench when she was out. She was the first one up. She put it behind her and came in on Saturday and was ready to play. And I think you see that, and people like Sydney look up to her for that.
Dennis?
First off, that trip to North Dakota, is that your balancing out
Yeah,
from
we're
going to
just
the Bahamas?
trying to make sure we keep the temperature averages in the middle there. Yeah, so.
After a big first game for Julie, seemed like it hasn't come as easily. What do you see the process that she's going through right now and to get to where she can be?
Yeah, I think it's that balance as a freshman of I think one thing Julie is very gifted in both the Ball State and the Arkansas coaches commented to me on her high IQ and being able to put people in positions. It's again, I think we've got to make sure she's completely healthy. I think that's something that has affected her a little bit. But I think mixing things up. I think still knowing we need her to attack. She missed a jumper in the game the other night and without anybody in front of her, kind of like, hey, we need you can get to the rim, get to the rim. The very next opportunity it happened, she was able to do that. I think her learning curve is so good. And again, I think there is an unselfishness to her that we need her in that first group to be as big a threat on the perimeter as possible to help take some of that pressure off Abby and Imani. She had to guard a kid that to me, was going to be a first-team All-SEC player, and Chelsea Dungy, and she doesn't seem to blink at it. And so I think she does so many things for our team. Like we had to play small with the foul trouble. You know what? We could get her in the high post. She could facilitate out of there. Like any freshman, you just got to make sure that they understand how good they are and continue to talk to them and show them film. I thought she got some really good looks this weekend that didn't go down. I was proud of her because she still contributed on the other end even when shots weren't falling. So I think that's her maturation, as we've talked about, being a 20-year-old freshman. But still, I think it's my job and our staff's job and to make sure we're breathing confidence in her.